Mabuhay! My name is Rema and welcome to my art space, and I'm on another museum tour again here in Doha, Qatar. And right now I'm visiting the Museum of Islamic Art that showcases everything about Islamic culture, not only here in Qatar but also in the Gulf region or the Arab world. So I hope you stick with me and enjoy this tour. Sitting on a man-made island at the edge of the Doha Corniche is the crown jewel of Qatar's museums, the Museum of Islamic Art. This five-story building was designed by Chinese-American architect I.M. Pei, who also designed the Louvre Pyramid in Paris. If you're on a budget and you have a Metrolink card, just take the train on the Metrorail's Gold Line. Alight at the National Museum station and go to exit number 1, the Al Hitmi exit, and ride the Metrolink M315 bus at the station. As long as you got a Metro card, the bus ride is free while each train ride costs 2 riyals. Get down at the Old Qatar Museum bus stop near the museum and take a walk going there. What? Before I forget, you can book a ticket online through the Museum of Islamic Art's webpage before you visit. Qatari residents and those with QID are free to visit, but non-residents have to pay 50 riyals. That's equivalent to about $13 as of April 2024. My ticket included a temporary exhibit called Fashioning an Empire, Textiles from Safavid Iran. This exhibit highlighted how silk boosted the economy of the Safavid period, which ran between the 1500s until the early 1700s. Silk was considered as a prized luxury good during that period and a vital export commodity. The artistry of carpet weavers were carefully preserved in these 100-year-old carpets, and old palace tiles and paintings told the story of the Safavid period, especially during the height of Shah Abbas I the Great's dynasty. The silk industry grew across borders, with trade going as far as India, England, and Thailand. Historical records showed how fashionable people were during that period. Much of the weavers' artistic creativity were preserved in these centuries-old textiles. Silk was an expensive commodity. Only royals, as well as rich aristocrats, were able to wear these silken robes. Creating silk-based fashion is still alive today. The last part of this exhibit featured contemporary works created by Qatar-based designers in partnership with M7, the country's major hub for creatives in fashion and technology. Aside from temporary exhibits, the Museum of Islamic Art houses 18 permanent exhibits. Each gallery holds a wide collection of vases, jewelry, accessories, and books that are dated hundreds of years ago. Centuries-old coins were also kept, and you can check their details with a microscope. It's fascinating that people long ago made miniature jars and vases. They experimented with other crafts aside from making earthenware for food storage and burials. The artifacts kept here are not only from Qatar but are from various Islamic countries and cultures in the Middle East, Africa, as well as Asia and some parts of Europe. These animal-shaped fountainheads from Spain were examples of how Islamic influences reached Europe, particularly during the Umayyad rule more than 1,000 years ago. One of the most important collections of this museum is the Gallery of Qurans, some of them dating as old as the first millennium. Most of them were written in beautiful calligraphy, with several of these pages written and decorated in gold ink. I'm amazed at how they were all preserved. People in the Islamic regions have valued art by intricately designing their door panels and lamp motifs, like these ones taken from various mosques. They delicately designed this 19th century sitara or door textile which covered a section of the Kaaba in Mecca. Various funerary practices were also explained in one of the galleries, and it's interesting to know that various Islamic regions have different ways of honoring their loved ones. It's good to note that the museum has several interactive tables that would give a deeper insight into the exhibits and their displays. I'm trying my best to remember all the names though. Aside from religion, the Islamic region also delved into science, technology, and exploration. Various maps and navigational tools like the astrolabe have been around in this region since the 10th century. This is just the second floor or the third story, and there are still more galleries to go. I tried to go through the correct order by starting at Gallery 10, which showcased the trading within the Mediterranean and the expansion of Islamic influences in this region. This giant Mamluk metal tray was one of the metal works that used to serve sultans in Egypt. I find the art from the Ottoman dynasty more lavish and vibrant. The Ottomans ruled modern-day Turkey or Turkiye for about 600 years until 1923, and their art influences were very broad, ranging from Islamic, European, and Christian art. The biggest highlight of the Ottoman Gallery is the Damascus Room, a part of an interior of a 19th century house from Syria. Amid political and territorial disputes, military tactics and weapons, arms, and armor were also developed in the Islamic region, where warfare was deemed a noble form of art. Standing proudly in the middle of the room was an Ottoman horse armor that was dated around the 1500s. The armor was similar to those of European knights, especially since the European culture was also integrated with the Islamic culture even during the medieval period. More Safavid carpets could be found in the permanent exhibits as this gallery explored the role of Islam in Iran. The Islamic region did not only use calligraphy in their religious texts, but also in various manuscripts. Some texts and even oil paintings show how European and Christian cultures were integrated into their historical arts and writings. Here in the South Asia Gallery, I saw how rich the Mughals were, especially during the height of their power in the 16th century. They were also very artistic, and gold was never exempted from their craft. More artifacts from trading across the Indian Ocean were seen in this section, and I was already getting a bit overwhelmed. finally, I get to the last gallery, which was the Southeast Asia region. Most of the artifacts were from Indonesia and were mostly worn by people of nobility. I found only one from the Philippines so far, and these were ornaments in the form of the sarimanok, a legendary bird of the Maranao people. I was proud of this because I'm Filipino, of course. But I was not yet done, even after more than 2 hours of roaming around the galleries, and I was already deadbeat tired. There were 2 more temporary exhibits on the last floor. One of them was the silver jewelry of the Moroccan Royal Palace collection. I felt lucky that I was able to see this before its last day, which was on May 20, 2024. The pieces of jewelry featured here were those worn by women in North Africa, particularly by those from the indigenous Berber tribe in Morocco. These silverware have distinct triangular designs that were large and bold. I'm guessing they're heavy when worn, especially the headgear and the huge necklaces. At the corner of the gallery, a film showed how these pieces were created by the silversmith. The final temporary exhibit I checked out was the Golden Spider Silk exhibition. It's interesting to know that silk from the golden orb weaver spiders was also a prized commodity in Europe in the 1700s, just like China's silk from silkworms. 4 modern pieces made of spider silk were on display here. I was impressed with the sophisticatedly designed cape, which took more than 2 years to be created. The silk used for this piece were from over 1 million spiders. The others on display here were a woven lamba, a garment used in Madagascar, and a sheer taffeta shawl and a satin shawl. My museum tour ended just in time for lunch. I was simply glad that the MIA Cafe was just within reach and had coffee and a falafel sandwich to serve my hungry tummy. Bon appetit! If ever you get to visit here, I also recommend that you check out their gift shop before you leave the museum. Here you can find lots of unique souvenirs that you can take home with you. Okay, so I'm ending my tour by getting out into the promenade. I don't know if this is called a promenade, but when you get out here, you will see the view of the Doha coast, or the coast of Doha, and also Lusail City in the distance. And you'd see how blue the water is, and like, oh my gosh, this is a really good ender for this tour. I think I finished this tour for more than 2 hours because I started at before 10 and ended past 12, so that was also lunchtime. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me in this tour, and I hope you really enjoyed this as much as I did. And if you do, please click the like button, and if you're here in my channel for the first time, also please subscribe and also click the bell button so you'll be notified of future videos. Again, my name is Rema, and thank you very much for joining my art space, and I hope to see you in the next. Bye! This is everything about the Islamic culture, not only in here. And right now, I'm here in the Islamic Museum of Art, and it's so hot and windy today.